Welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. We are on episode 338. I'm surprised you started over from the beginning and you listened to this. Why would anybody ever do that? So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've culled it down. It used to be like 100 and so, and then years ago, I think I culled it down to like 30. I don't know how many it is. It's something like 30, and some of them are daily, some of them are weekly, some of them are on seasons and what have you. And every so often, I try not to do this often because I used to be a huge fan of going to like a podcast forum or a subreddit or something, and just seeing the discourse and the conversation surrounding. And then eventually I just said, I can't do this anymore because these people were so obsessed. Because they're making me start to hate shows. And now I'm at a point where I don't even listen to every episode of every show, which is great. What's going on this week? Well, I'm looking at the notifications. I forgot that Doom: The Dark Ages is out on Xbox and PlayStation and PC. I will eventually download and play it. Here's the thing. I think the Doom games are nice. I do like them, and I like the fast pace about them. But sometimes you just get overwhelmed with all the games out there that are shooting and killing a lot for a very long time. I think platformers are my favorite. Platforming is my favorite genre, but for a very long time, I was just playing platformers. Like I would say, not just playing platformers, but they made up the majority of my gameplay time because I just love it. You know, I also pulled back from playing games several years ago. I was just slowing down on it because I was just bored. And now there's so many great games out. Last night I made a list of Nintendo Switch 2 games. It's very tiny. In fact, I think there's like 4 or 5 on there. Two of them are new. It's the Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. And then the other ones are just upgrades. Some of them are free upgrades, but you have to pay for a couple of others, which is insane to me. I think every upgrade for every video game going from one console generation to the next should be free. It's ridiculous how you can't, like for some PS4 to PS5 games, you had to pay for the upgrade. I've already given you my money. Why'd I have to pay for the upgrade to Last of Us Part 2? I know it's only $10, but still. Also, I'm never going to play Last of Us Part 2. But you better believe that I have that thing sitting in my wish list, the upgrade thing. Same thing for Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, or Forbidden West. One of them is upgradable for $10. And no, I have Horizon Forbidden West on PS5, but I have Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4. And then the upgrade is $10. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's what Until Dawn should have been. Until Dawn should have been a $10 upgrade, but instead they remade it. They re-released it, in quotes. And they have a PS5 version that's, from what I've been reading, all accounts, worse. I love Until Dawn. Until Dawn is, I'm not kidding, the reason I bought my PlayStation 4. I just finished The Quarry a couple of months ago. I love that game. It was a great game. Have I beaten any? No, I'm still playing Clair Obscur. Expedition 33. I'm very slow on video games, but I also don't spend my time on the internet, so it doesn't matter what happens. Oh yeah, I'm also playing Pokemon: The Isle of Armor. It takes a long time. They give you a Pokemon at the start of that, and you can only use that Pokemon for their testing grounds or whatever. It's a whole story. It's a story-based thing, and you have to get its level. It's a Cubfu. You have to get its level up to level 80 before you can do anything, and they give it to you at like level 5. So the trick is, on the Isle of Armor to find Chansey because it gives you the most experience. And I know people, they love to go out and grind and do that stuff. I'm not a huge fan of grinding, especially in RPGs. I'll tell you this, when I beat Persona 5 Royal, and this is going to be so sad. I love the game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I played the game on normal. I didn't do a grinding thing. And I got to the last boss, and people online were saying, we recommend you, it's all recommended to just grind in the metaverse and go to level 90. And I was at level 90. And then people were like, level 100, or like the top levels are probably the best, and you have to get these monsters and in order to beat the game. And I made it to the last boss of this game. I spent 129 hours playing this game, and I made it to the last boss, and I could not beat him for the life of me. And for a long time, for games with achievements and trophies, a lot of them were tied to if you beat a game on normal, if you beat a game on easy, if you beat a game on, well, no, not easy. If you beat on normal, hard, whatever, then you'll get the trophy. But if you change it at all, then you won't get a trophy. And then I just went, I just want to beat this game. Like, I truly want to beat this game. It's been installed. I love the game so much, but I just want to beat it. And I'm having trouble, and I don't want to grind, and I just want to delete it from my console. So I turned it to the easiest setting. You can't change it back. I turned it to the easiest setting, and I finished the game because I had like an hour left. I knew the final fight was going to be an hour. I made it to the third semester. It's a whole thing. If you just go look up Persona 5 Royal, I can't explain it. I'd get way too into the weeds here. Talk about Persona 5 Royal. You got to go to school, and then at the end of school, after school, you have to fight these monsters, and you gain friends, but it's also an M-rated game, so they talk about a lot of dark stuff. I love it. If I were to make a list, because lists are popular, of games, I'm not gonna put numbers on these. Mass Effect, Persona 5 Royal, and specifically Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, Persona 5 Royal, Pokemon. There's no order, in no particular order. Pokemon, the mainline series. I just love those. I understand they're all RPGs. I just realized that. There's probably a Mario World, probably Super Mario World itself. Melee. Yeah, Smash Brothers Melee. I definitely say it. I think I own all of my favorite games. All right, let's get into it. This comes from The Wrap. Please do not lock me up. This is written by Kayla Cobb. Fox streaming service named Fox One aims to launch ahead of football season. We knew Fox was going to be creating its own streaming service. This is separate from Fox Nation, which I believe will still be live. But Fox One is going to incorporate all of Fox's channels, including, but not limited to, more than likely Fox Sports, as well as Fox Broadcasting, and I assume Fox News. It says in the main series in streaming have been the Fox Nation, the main entries, in streaming have been the Fox Nation streaming app, which includes exclusive programming and access to Fox News primetime shows on demand, and the ad-supported service Tubi. Though Tubi does offer Fox content on its program, the Gen Z and millennial-focused streamer licenses content for multiple different networks and streamers. Now, good Lord. Did they not detail what's going to be in it? Okay, well, we know it's going to be at least Fox Sports. Pricing for the streamer will align with the wholesale value of Fox's channels. I'm going to say $20 probably. $15 and $20. It'll be marketed to cord cutter and cord never consumers. Ugh. Fox One will also be available to all traditional Fox customers, meaning that if you're a Fox cable subscriber, you will also have access to the streaming service. Okay, now that is going to be a particular point coming up next, because ESPN also announced its own streaming platform This comes from Brian Steinberg, written by at Variety, written by Brian Steinberg. But they gave it more detail than what we have here. And that's no offense to Kayla Cobb. ESPN, this is offense to Fox, though. ESPN's new $29.99 per month streaming service to launch this fall. It's called ESPN. It's coming out this fall. The big points are that if you are a subscriber to cable, Hulu with live TV, Charter, which we'll get to in a minute, YouTube TV, Sling, whatever, Dish, then you have access to ESPN. And that is the name of the new streaming platform, ESPN. ESPN Plus is going to stick around for the time being, and it's going to be an ESPN Lite, sort of. So ESPN's ESPN streaming platform. When I say ESPN, when I say ESPN Network, it's network. When I say ESPN streaming, it's streaming. $30 a month will get you unlimited. That includes all ESPN networks and ESPN broadcasts on ABC, which means you'll get everything on ESPN like First Take. Whenever they do the Ocho, you'll have all that stuff. And then also whatever, I think their baseball contract is coming to an end, but they're open to having conversations with MLB. But you'll also probably get Monday Night Football and whatever basketball is going to be on there as well on ABC, be it college or professional. So that's going to be $30. A select plan, which offers the current ESPN Plus service, will also be available. Disney will sell a full bundle of streaming services for $36 per month, but initial offer of $29.99. So Disney will sell a full streaming. So that means the Disney bundle will go up to $36 if you want ESPN with it. What I take that as to mean is you can get Disney, ESPN, and Hulu all separately, or you can get them all together with ads, or you can get them all four versions together. That includes Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and then the bigger ESPN, I guess. I don't know. That's probably how it ends. Of course, they're also bringing in bigger talent with this. Rich Eisen is back, and he's going to bring the Rich Eisen Show to Disney Plus and ESPN Plus starting this fall. It's going to be on at the same time as Pat McAfee's show, but people who like both shows will probably be able to watch them on demand, or they'll finally be able to choose between both of them on this singular platform. So it's probably a lot like, you go to Max, and if you have a Max streaming plan and they have CNN and they also have sports on at the same time, you can go, hey, I want to watch Wolf Blitzer's, I couldn't think of somebody, Jake Tapper's show, but I also want to watch basketball on TNT for now. With this Fox streaming app and with the ESPN streaming app, the Fox one was going to happen regardless, and the ESPN one was going to happen regardless. But we knew that Warner, Disney, and Fox were going to get together and create VNU. They were sued by Fubo TV, and then they were taken to court. Disney said, we're going to buy Fubo TV, or Hulu said we're going to buy Fubo TV. Now Disney owns Fubo TV. They're not going to merge Fubo TV with Hulu Live TV or Hulu or anything, but let it be known that Disney now owns Fubo. And VNU cannot be a thing because it would have created a monopoly. An unfair monopoly, I guess. But now that we have this Fox streaming platform and ESPN, I think the biggest pieces of news to come out of this is that it harkens back to the pre-streaming era, the pre-streaming boom. The idea that people who still subscribe to cable or cable-like packages have access to this. Because they weren't, even though there are plenty of people who say I don't want to do cable, I'd rather just pay for Netflix and Disney and Max and ESPN and I'm done with everything else. That works, but then there are people who have access to the cable style platforms, and cable platforms, and this is great because even if you already pay for, I don't know, HBO via Charter, then you still get access to Max, which is wonderful. This is an excellent idea, and as unfortunate as the price is, it's what's going to be necessary, and eventually they're going to go up in price. Again, we don't have any prices for the Fox streaming platform, but I can only assume that Fox One will be roughly 15 to 20. If it's less than 20, I'll be shocked. If it is 20, I won't be. But what are they? I mean, like, what are you even offering? I don't watch Fox Sports, and that's the only thing I'm really interested in. It's mostly because I'm sick of talking head shows, be it sports or news. I'm sick of all that. The way that CNN and Fox News, I've never seen a second of Fox News, but the way that CNN and Fox News and MSNBC have all changed to panel shows is kind of, it's annoying, really. I think that's the only word. There's more words I can think of, but this is a PG show, even though I already cursed. But it is annoying, and it makes it feel. And that's not to say that they don't have single hosted shows. I mean, I'm sure Fox has its share of morons talking on microphones in the same way that CNN and MSNBC do. I like Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper hosts his own show. Wolf Blitzer was taken off his own show, and he's not taken off, but now he was given a co-host. And but if you look at MSNBC, they just put out like the weeknight, and the people who are given their own shows are basically given primetime slots, as opposed to the panel shows, which are given daytime and hourly and weekend slots. It's what is news anymore? This is why I watch PBS NewsHour. Anyway, we'll see ESPN this fall, and I'm so glad that I have access to it through YouTube TV, because I don't have ESPN Plus anymore, and the thing that I thought I was going to miss most was golf, because I watch a lot of golf, and it's great just to go to Hulu, because that's where I access my ESPN Plus, to go to Hulu and to put on, and a day's worth of golf, and just to watch holes 15 and 16, or to follow a group. But now I'm using that time wisely and playing video games or watching other things. This next one comes from, speaking of news, Deadline. Written by Ted Johnson, CNN's Mark Thompson provides some additional details for what he calls its first true news streaming service. I don't think I read this. I think I just linked to it. Mark Thompson and David Zaslav, they're trying the streaming news thing again. Now, CNN exists in the form of broadcast cable. You can also go to the website and subscribe and read CNN for, I think, something like $3 a month. If you pay for Max for certain plans, you can get CNN via Max. But the idea that they have right now is to, much like how CNN Plus was supposed to be in 2020 or 2021, for the month that it existed, they want another CNN streaming service. I don't know why it's not bundled in to CNN's online thing. I don't know why it's not bundled into Max. This is so ridiculous. To HBO Max. HBO Max is back, baby. I can say HBO Max again, and it feels good. When I was at Warner Brothers, and I will continue telling stories about working there, because I loved Cartoon Network and I fucking hated CNN. When I was there, I don't think it was during the transition between HBO Max and Max. So I saw it be HBO Max, and then I saw it be Max. I don't think there was, at least from whenever it was mentioned, I always called it HBO Max, and I don't think anyone else called it Max, except like in official meetings and in not emails, memos. Anyway, CNN's upcoming streaming service is going to debut in the fall, much in the same way that Fox's new streaming service, Fox One and ESPN, will be doing the same thing. It's going to be, as CEO Mark Thompson says, one simple way to explore the very best of CNN journalism on your phone, your connected TV, or other digital device. Now, all this was announced at the upfronts. Most of the stories I'm talking about today were announced at the upfronts. Well, I guess the first 4 stories were announced at the upfronts. He said that further plans will be revealed in coming weeks, but the launch will be the first in the U.S. and then internationally. He also said that it would be part of a new all-access subscription, as the network has gone the subscription route on CNN.com. The service will be available to current cable and satellite subscribers at no additional cost. CNN said it will continue to have a presence on Max, which is headed for a rebrand to HBO Max. Okay, so that's great. I have not read the story before. So that's wonderful to hear that, again, people who subscribe to cable and satellite will be able to get this for free. You know, for one, the reason why this is such a big deal is that this helps out everyone on both fronts. On two fronts. On one side, it gives the consumer added utility for keeping their cable subscription. You know, if for people paying hundreds of dollars and going, another thing, it gives them a way to say, hey, you know what? I like ESPN, and this is a great way to get ESPN additionally. So this is going to be wonderful on this Slick app. And then on the other end, it bolsters the numbers of the streaming platform. And a lot of these, in order for investors to see that there is a reason to continue investing, or there's reasons to say, let's go get some advertisers for this, they're going to, it doesn't matter how the numbers come, the numbers are there. But I wonder, with this rebrand, and I'll get to, I'm going to do a Cartoon Network story from Bloomberg after another story. There's a lot less Cartoon Network shows on Max. There's a lot less. I'm in front of my computer, but I chose to pick up my phone because it's a lot easier to do this. I can go on Max right now, and I can see that even though there's an HBO section on HBO Max, I see a lot less HBO programming. And along the same lines, I see a lot less Cartoon Network. I believe there's like 8 Cartoon Network shows that are on here right now. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there should be a lot more Cartoon Network shows. The Watch with the Family section is just so much smaller than what it should be. There's a lot less Adult Swim shows. And yes, Warner does license these programs out to other streamers. I can watch the Justice League cartoons on Netflix. That's great. But the idea should be, because they don't want to pay for residuals, but the idea should be that I go to Max, I'm going to watch Batman Beyond, I'm going to watch Static Shock, I'm going to watch Justice League, I'm going to watch all these shows. For Disney, I can watch I can go on Disney Plus right now and watch almost every Spider-Man cartoon there is. And there's a lot. I can watch Pepper Ann. I can watch Disney's Doug. I also believe, because I have the Hulu subscription as well. No. I just have access. Nickelodeon's Doug is not on here. But I can watch Doug's first movie. I like Doug. Doug's a good show. But it's still so crazy to me how we still don't. The idea of the consumer wanting to stay with these platforms, and and to be agnostic isn't in the cards because we can't just watch anything whenever and wherever. News broke that on July 1st, I believe, South Park will be returning to Paramount Plus, will be aired on Paramount Plus. However, they also, because of the way that Paramount Plus is trying to market itself as a sorry, the camera just wigged out on me, as as trying to merge with Skydance. Now they're also licensing their things out because they just need the money. And the rumor has it that South Park will not really leave Max, HBO Max. It'll be on HBO Max and Paramount Plus. Because why not? But we need to be able, and I'm trying not to use the word utility, but there needs to be a reason to have these platforms. There needs to be a reason to stick with Max. Because if I drop Max for a month and I don't miss it, am I ever going to go back? For what it's worth, Netflix is not the best streaming platform out there, but it's the most consistent, and at least there's things on there that I'm tangentially interested in, which makes it something that people want to stick with, even if they go down to the ad-supported. And people love ad-supported. I didn't think that was going to be true, but because Netflix is $25 per month and Disney's bundle with Hulu and ESPN Plus is $26 per month, and Max, just to get the 4K, is $23 a month, or however much 21 it might be, however much it is. People are now just choosing, you know what? I can watch a little bit of ads. But I can tell you, as an ad-supported user of Peacock, it's annoying. The service will be the network's latest effort to push a standalone presence, the cord-cutting and drawing young crowds who have shunned traditional cable and subscriptions, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're also going to make a CNN weather app, which would launch later this year. I was watching CNN this morning, a show I used to work on. I was watching CNN this morning after the gym, and they cut to the weather people, Alison Chinchar, and she said hi to me once. But I was looking. This anecdote is for nobody. But as she was delivering some weather forecasts for around the nation, and I was watching the studio, I was just thinking, where is that? Because we used to be, they used to be at CNN Center downtown Atlanta, but then they sold that off and they moved everybody to the to the campus across from Georgia Tech, which is fine, I guess. But a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their jobs in that transition. Anyway. But when I was there, when I made the transition, thankfully, and then I lost my job soon after. But when I was there, I was back on campus. Ooh, baby, it felt like I was a main character who left a show, and I was sent into a spinoff, and the spinoff was canceled, and then I was brought back on the main show. Just walking around like I know where everything is now. But I didn't know where. So I knew. I was doing some CNN things, and I knew where a couple of studios were, but there was so much height in that weather studio. I was just thinking, where is that? And the only other studio I know that has that much height is the inside the NBA studio where I've been to before, but knowing where that is, It's under one of the buildings inside the NBA studios is underground and it's tall, but I couldn't place where that other one is. Anyway, that's just for me. That was just for me. All right. Before we get to this Cartoon Network story, I also have this other one. This comes from Variety, written by Todd Spangler. SiriusXM is releasing Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, full video podcast on YouTube in an effort to, I assume, get more viewers and make more money online. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend and SiriusXM, They're releasing the full episodes. You can see it on Team Coco right now, and I'm looking at it, and they were already shooting the episodes in video form and then releasing the clips of that, not as whole episodes, but in pieces. So you'll see 10-minute clips, which was working for them. But now they have a full episode of Ryan Reynolds, probably one of the biggest stars in entertainment right now. And I'm looking at the views, and it's only 183,000 views. As opposed to what I know they wanted. They wanted to get 500,000. They wanted to get 1 million views. But the idea that that 1 million people are going to sit down and watch an hour-long video is just gone. And, yes, Conan used to host late-night shows, and I'm sure people would watch a full hour show of him online, but you have to think that not every podcast is going to make 1 million views and get, X amount of money, XXX amount of money online. Just because Joe Rogan and Alex Cooper and the rest of those turd bags are making that much money doesn't mean you're doing the same thing. I think people would rather take the convenience of listening to an episode of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend as opposed to watching it. And I'm scrolling through these clips on Team Coco's YouTube page. Yes, they are getting triple-digit views. Yes, there's even one that has 500,000, and that's Conan O'Brien roasting his talent coordinator over her healthy snack basket. People like that. And I'm not saying that people don't want to see any of this, but the things that do better cumulatively are the clips that they break out. Especially the one that's not to say people won't watch a full episode of, Bill Hader put out there. But each one of these clips have done well over 300,000 views, except for one. One is at 276, but it is about the Palisades fire, which does timestamp this episode. That episode of that show. Anyway, I see what they want. I see what they want by putting out a full episode in video form. But they have to be realistic, because they get so many downloads and listens via the audio thing doesn't mean that people are going to switch over to video. And I hope that they know that this is in addition to as opposed to replacing. Because again, people like Conan, but people love Conan when he hosts a show, not when he's doing a podcast the most, Anyway, and then also what I'm noticing here is that because they're not releasing clips of the show, like if you look at the Bill Hader one, yes, the episode was out, and you can go listen to the whole hour-long episode, or you can come here to Team Coco's YouTube channel page and look at a 6-minute clip, a 7-minute clip, an 8-minute clip, a 6-minute clip, a 5-minute clip, and a 15-minute clip, and then another 10-minute clip. So yeah, you get the whole hour eventually, but they were releasing that over the course of a couple of days, as opposed to this Ryan Reynolds episode. They put it out, and then they do one clip, and then that's it. At some point, you're damaging yourself. Anyway, the episode's out. I did not even look over this article, but there you go. For now, Team Coco will distribute the full video episodes of the show only on YouTube. It's worth noting that Spotify has stepped up efforts to attract video podcasts as well. Yeah. again, I think they should make the Team Coco YouTube just Team Coco, so I could unsubscribe and just release the podcast stuff there. And then Conan O'Brien has a separate YouTube channel called Conan O'Brien, and just put the clips of all the late night shows there. Mostly because I don't want to see this podcasting crap. All right. Next up, this comes from Bloomberg, written by, let's scroll down, Felix Gillette. Now, this is an interesting piece that discussed, it's called Cartoon Network's Last Gasp. And it has a really good illustration from Nero Perone, who draws a lot of characters running from Cartoon Network's building and being stomped on by a WB shoe imprint, and it says "That's all, folks" on the cuff of some pants. Anyway, I think it's a really good illustration, and it features Cow and Chicken and Clarence, Eddie, Steven Universe. It's got like Johnny over the garden wall, Johnny Bravo, Wilt. It's funny. It's a good drawing. Anyway, this is a story that does posit the question: where does Warner Brothers Discovery see Cartoon Network's place? Maverick farted. I can smell it. It's also this morning. I wake up at 3:30 to work out, and he was awake, which was odd to me, and I thought, why are you awake, buddy? And he's like ready to go, and then I worked out. I did my first half of my workout. I do it in naps. I did my first half of my workout, and I came back. I was on the treadmill, and I came back, and I was changing my shoes to go to the gym, and he was wide awake, and I'm like, I think he has to use the bathroom. But it was just a fleeting thought. I go to the gym, I come back, and there's just a giant pile of wet turd in the middle of the floor, and I went, yeah, he did have to poop. Oh man, ridiculous. Okay, anyway. I'm not going to go over the entire thing, but we've seen so many cuts come through Warner Brothers Discovery. I would say more cuts than any television movie company in decades. And I mean, I would say even though a lot of people lost their jobs when Disney bought Fox, remember that. But you wanted Wolverine to kiss Iron Man. I would say we saw so many giant cuts at Cartoon Network, and as somebody who worked there, they played with the schedule. I saw them playing with the schedule. I saw them get rid of shows before they even aired, and get rid of shows soon after they aired, and it was just unfortunate to see all that. And of all the networks besides True TV, which is now essentially nothing, almost basically a sports channel with America's most messed up whatever videos or something like that, and then TNT, which is losing NBA on TNT, which is essentially just a Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Marvel movie, and DC movie channel every single day, every single weekend. And Charmed, they air Charmed in the morning too. They air Charmed at like 6 a.m. Cartoon Network is getting a real bad shaft, and Zaslav and the rest of them, they say that they want to do family style shows and everything, but you're not putting in the effort to make Cartoonito, which is their Nick Jr. and Disney Jr. Take, and Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. You're not putting in enough effort to make those as successful as they are. Yes, you do have hits every so often with The Amazing World of Gumball on Cartoon Network, or Rick and Morty on Adult Swim, but you're not putting in the time and the effort to make them as good as they can be. One show, Common Side Effects, premiered on Adult Swim at midnight, as these shows typically do. It premiered, and I would say it's carved itself well into a world of people who like that show, and it's doing so well. But I would say Warner is not giving it enough attention. And when you write down, $500 million and then you take a $9.1 billion charge off of the company, and you come away, David Zaslav, making $50 to $53 to $55 million per year. Yes, I know, 20 of that's in stock options. Who gives a shit? But still, you're making more money, and people are losing their jobs left and right. You have put yourself in this position because people are leaving the platforms. It doesn't matter if you change Max back to HBO Max. People are leaving the platforms because you have nothing left to offer. And let's return this back to the kids thing. In terms of kids, YouTube and Netflix and Disney Plus have more kid viewers than Max does. TikTok, PBS Kids, which is a free app, Hulu, Paramount Plus, which still offers, even though it lost a lot of its luster in terms of shows, but it still offers the Wild Thornberrys and some Rugrats, I think. I don't think all Rugrats. Even Peacock. You're losing out to these platforms because you don't put in the effort to have more family-oriented programming on your platform. Yes, Bluey is a giant hit for Disney Plus, and you can never have that. But, and there's going to be a Coco Melon movie, and Coco Melon's doing really well on Netflix, even though Coco Melon, I believe, was also on Cartoon Network, because I was in several meetings for that. And I still have the notes. But you refuse to put in the time and the effort in order to get all that back. And I appreciate that they have Studio Ghibli movies. That's wonderful, and they just re-upped that contract. But Cartoon Network is not what it should be, and it's not what it was 20 years ago. On YouTube right now, you can go and find people who have put up, all of the Cartoon Fridays, or the Nickelodeon and Disney Fridays and Saturday nights. Which, yes, I know obviously is something that's only happened in the early 2000s, the 90s, and the 80s. But you can go watch all that with the commercials, and it was just it was a different time, because there were things that where if you watched it and you watched it enough, then they would pick up that show and or make it seem like the viewers chose the show. It used to be, as Vanessa Brookman, a Warner Brothers executive in London who manages the brand abroad, said, cutting edge. Brookman attributes the online uproar over the cutbacks at Cartoon Network to pent-up nostalgia for the time when it was first emerging as an engine of cutting-edge animation on par with the most esteemed anime shops in Japan. I feel like that what's coming next is a big but. She says she's optimistic about the network's current direction. If I look at Cartoon Network right now, at 11:20 on Friday, May 16th, I guarantee at this point in time, The Amazing World of Gumball will be on the air. And if that's not true, if that's not the case, I know it's not Teen Titans Go. They will not be burning that this early in the day. But you have to, it's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? That's new to me. That's brand new to me. Wow. It's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The first iteration of Scooby-Doo cartoons. Wow. But yes, it is nostalgia, but it's also a time when Cartoon Network was willing to take more chances. It's not, you're saying it's not dead, Brookman and Zaslav, but the way you're treating it kind of is. So now, with using names that we've seen before, like Mike Lazo, and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, Warner is all over the place with Cartoon Network. I met the guy that started Adult Swim. All of these drawings that this Nero Perone has put on here, they're amazing. They go through the history here of Cartoon Network and its heyday in Atlanta and things of that nature. Zaslav, when he was the Discovery CEO and they bought everything from AT&T, came in and praised the company for having IP like Harry Potter and Game of Thrones and Batman and lauded people like Oprah Winfrey and Chip and Joanna Gaines, even though Chip and Joanna Gaines is his people, and said Looney Tunes and CNN and things like that are a true reputational asset. Ugh. And invoked no less than 17 times. It's crazy. Not once did he mention Cartoon Network or Adult Swim. Looney Tunes is Cartoon Network. Let's get that straight. What is that noise? Stop it. Cartoon Network is at I would say a very pivotal point. And even though we are at a structure where people are leaving cable, there still is a faction of people, as we'll get to in the next story, who are willing to shell out for this. Shows like Common Side Effects are in the 10 most popular series on HBO Max, because it's an easily accessible show. There's a show called Lazarus that they air, I believe, on Saturday nights at midnight. That is an anime show that I don't know if it has good reviews or not, but it is still something that people want to watch. More or less because it's a word of mouth thing. And if you can do that 5 more times, then you'll have hits. And I'm talking about between Cartoon Network and between Adult Swim. At some point, there's another rumor that's coming from CNBC that says Warner Brothers will spin off its cable networks division. And if it does that, where would that, and I believe that's the whole thesis to this piece, where does that put Cartoon Network? Let's look at Comcast. They're spinning off a majority of their cable assets, with the exception of, I think, Bravo. It was called Spinco, but now it's officially called Versant, I believe. I can't do math, but I know this by heart. With Versant, does that put networks like the Golf Network, the Golf Channel, does that put that, or MSNBC, does that put them in a better position? What the CEOs and the companies will have you believe is, yes, that puts them in the best position in order to make more money and to make us more lean. But if you spin off a company, that doesn't necessarily that they're going to be in a better position. From an advertiser's standpoint, they're going to look at the numbers and go, well, Cartoon Network doesn't have what we want, but TNT does. What do you have to offer on Cartoon Network? Oh, well, you have Teen Titans Go, but their new episodes are coming in the winter time. I don't know. Disney had the 100th episode of Big City Greens. Bluey's still kicking butt over there. As for Nickelodeon, they're airing SpongeBob 24/7. Nickelodeon is airing SpongeBob 24/7. They did just renew a bunch of cartoons. I don't say a bunch. They renewed some cartoons like Rock Paper Scissors. I believe the Loud House is still going on, and they also have a partnership with Netflix where they can say, "Hey, we're making a Loud House movie, and it's going to be on Netflix." But Warner Brothers is mishandling Adult Swim and Cartoon Network. Michael Uluwine, who was one of the people who helped start Adult Swim, said that they are still maintaining a shorts program to act as a pipeline for new talent. Under the current iteration, artists can get between $6,000 and $8,000 to develop brief videos, roughly 50 of which are presented on Adult Swim's channel every year. And then they also do still put out Scooby-Doo shows and movies. At one point, they were doing a Scooby-Doo movie every year, but now they're not doing that. I don't know. It feels like Cartoon Network is coming to a slow stop. Quicker than what Nickelodeon is. Like Nickelodeon, I think Nickelodeon is just at its worst. I haven't turned on Nickelodeon in so long because it's just mostly SpongeBob. And I'm not saying I don't like SpongeBob, but switch it up. Nicktoons is all SpongeBob. Oh my goodness. I've never seen Nicktoons not air SpongeBob in the past like 7 years. It's so crazy to me. Let me go to Nicktoons. Let me see. SpongeBob. Look, it's just all SpongeBob. Oh, let's see the camera. SpongeBob. All day, all night. And then they have the gall to put up a banner up here that says, "Oh, we have the Loud House too. Oh, we have Rock Paper Scissors. Oh, we have the really Loud House and Camp Coral." Oh my God. It's the same thing on Nickelodeon too. Interesting. That's via YouTube TV. All right, and finally, speaking of cable, this comes from Brian Steinberg. This is hot news at Variety. Charter and Cox strike a $34.5 billion merger deal to create a cable behemoth. You got Charter. People are leaving Charter left and right. You got Cox. People are leaving Cox left and right. They said, why don't we get together and make this giant cable company? Under Trump's administration, this will probably happen. So here's the new terms of the deal. Charter's going to acquire Cox Communications, commercial fiber and managed IT and cloud businesses, and Cox Enterprises will contribute to Cox Communications' residential cable business to Charter Holdings, an existing subsidiary partnership of Charter. Within a year after the closing, the combined company will change its name to Cox Communications because I believe Cox has a better representation with the public. Charter Spectrum will become the consumer-facing brand within the communities Cox serves. The combined company will remain headquartered in Stamford, Connecticut, and will maintain a significant presence on Cox's Atlanta campus following the closing. Cox's Atlanta campus, it's not Atlanta. It's in like Sandy Springs. Also, I could never get a job there to save the life of me. There's going to be $500 million of annualized cost synergies achieved within 3 years of close, stemming from typical procurement and overhead savings. This is huge news. People, just look at Disney buying Fox and Discovery buying Warner. People are coming together, and companies are coming together in such a way that it just seems unfair to other companies. Just listen that Disney's ESPN, just in this past week, 3 major outlets, Disney's ESPN, Fox Corp, and Warner Brothers Discovery CNN unveiled plans to launch standalone streaming properties that will have their media conglomerate partners dealing with video customers in direct fashion without a third-party distributor. In the same way that, it's Charter wants you to come and join the company again, no matter what. They want you to pay for Spectrum. They want you to pay for their cable and their internet and their phone and their business and all that stuff. Charter's been an aggressive negotiator in recent years when it comes to signing new distribution deals with media companies. You'll see sometimes, Disney will go dark on Dish because Triple D. Welcome back to Diners, Drive-In, Dash. Disney will go dark on Dish because they don't have a good deal with Dish, but Dish, they want more money from Dish, and Dish is like, we're not going to pay any more money. We're losing a lot of people. The same thing happens with when Paramount was before Paramount and Viacom came back together. When it was Viacom CBS, you would often see them go dark on other, like on YouTube TV or Charter or whatever, because they wanted more money. They positioned themselves as having, we have Comedy Central, we have VH1, we have MTV. People are gonna want us. So if you go dark, that's what happens. Streaming is the way of the future, but for now, there are still people who don't have excellent internet service, particularly in the middle of the country, or just people who, it's an older generation who thinks it's just easier to watch cable. I know my grandma has cable. She doesn't have streaming. She doesn't know how to figure things out. So this is a good move for those companies. But, by and large, it's going to create some sort of giant mega conglomerate that's Venu couldn't be created. Then what's this for? Anyway, that's it. I'm done. I'm done talking. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to people sometimes. You can also watch a video version of this show on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can also watch me talk to famous people under the interviews. I didn't have one this week. I'm so sorry. You can follow us. You can also subscribe to the other podcasts. Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast. Watch video versions of those shows on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, @cpluscomedy, me @ChadBlackWhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.